Lee Cowan went in search of scientific proof that aging can be cured. And what he found may surprise you.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
When we first sent men to the moon back in 1969, our life expectancy was about 70. Today, we're still going to space, but can expect to live only about 8 years longer. But what if, like space itself, age could be almost limitless?
Aging can be delayed, aging can be stopped, aging can be reversed in several ways.
We're learning how to turn back the clock by not just a couple of years, but even by a decade potentially.
Maybe a 7-year-old of the future will look more like a 40-year-old or 50-year-old of today.
Those are three of the leading scientists on aging, who all agree that either slowing our clock, or perhaps even resetting it, is no longer science fiction.
Aging should be treated, it should be considered a medical condition, and doctors should pay attention to it.
Harvard biologist David Sinclair made a big splash 2 years ago with a book claiming that aging is optional.
So how old are you now?
I'm 52.
He wants to make it at least to 100, but he'd love to surpass the record set by Jeanne Clement. She lived to be 122.
So there's no biological limit to our lifespan. Some people say, oh, we already have maxed out our natural lifespan. I don't believe that at all.
We joined him for dinner, his first meal of the day. Fasting, he believes, helps build up the body's defenses against aging. But he also believes that our cells carry the instructions on just how to be young again. And he thinks he's found them. His study, published in the journal Nature last year, detailed how he made blind mice see again by reversing the age of their eyes. And he thinks he can do the same with brain cells.
Oh my gosh. And what does that, as a practical matter, mean?
It means that we probably have figured out why we age. Let's say you get Alzheimer's disease, there will be a way, I believe, to reverse the age of the brain, and then Alzheimer's disease will go away.
And one uppercut, good.
Lynn Charney seems to be fighting old age naturally. She's 96 and as fit as ever.
And 4, beautiful.
I love doing it. I feel that if I can live to 100, see my granddaughter graduate from college, I will have rounded out my life wonderfully.
Somehow, she's eluded the age-related diseases, like cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. Even she doesn't know how.
This just says, not getting older, just better.
She's part of an ongoing study led by Dr. Neil Barzilai at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. He believes instead of treating diseases one by one as they come, we should treat their root cause first, aging itself.
We cannot just spend the money in treating diseases when we can target the biology of aging and stop all those diseases.
There's evidence to suggest a drug already on the market, metformin, used for diabetes, might actually be an anti-aging drug in disguise.
It prevents cardiovascular disease, it prevents Alzheimer's, it prevents cancers.
That said, though, you don't want people to rush out and try to start taking metformin after they hear this.
I don't.
That's because he's about to start a clinical trial to see if metformin safely does what he hopes it does.
Aging can be delayed, health span can be improved, and longevity is the side effect of that.
Another potential anti-aging drug comes from a bacterium found in the soil on Easter Island. Called rapamycin, it's proven to be a powerful immunosuppressant, but in low doses, it's also been shown to extend lifespan in mice. Now, mice live in a research lab. Dogs, however, live with us.
Come on, boy.
That's Ike. He's participating in a study funded by the National Institute on Aging that, in part, is looking at rapamycin's impact on his longevity.
He'd be 14 in February, Valentine's Day.
His owners hope for him what we all want for us, more time with each other.
Love to get a couple extra years out of him, as long as he's not hurting,
But how can we humans tell if anything we do or anything we take is really doing anything to extend our lives?
So we expect to see some age-related changes.
Morgan Levine at Yale Medical School helped develop a test that can reveal how swiftly we're aging and perhaps just how much time we have left. Scientists call them epigenetic clocks.
That's where you get a kit, spit in a tube, send it back, and in a few months, you get back your biological age.
Are some people a little leery about it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure I want to know.
Exactly. So a lot of people don't want to know. The exciting thing about epigenetics and biological age is it's modifiable. So actually knowing your number gives you more power over it.
That means our body's clock can change based on what we eat, how much we sleep and exercise, and more.
I would say death is inevitable. Aging, we can do something about it.
And that, in the end, is why billions of dollars are being poured into biotech startups. Like the moonshot. If scientists are successful, it may just change mankind's course forever.
I don't think we can cure aging, but we can certainly prevent the process from happening as quickly as it does. And we don't have to get sick and die in our 80s. That I'm certain of.
A Japanese woman, Kane Tanaka, is considered to be the oldest person on Earth. She's about to turn 119. But as Martha Teichner tells us, the key to unlocking a longer life may be found in the animal kingdom.
Don't call them ugly. Naked mole rats are the rock stars of research into what animals can teach us about living longer and better.
These guys live close to 40 years.
Stephen Austad, a professor at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, is one of the nation's leading aging researchers.
They have this incredible cancer resistance. So they've got some trick for avoiding cancer, some trick for living a very long life, and they don't seem to get sick as they get older until the very end.
Traits they share with their much larger fellow residents at the Birmingham Zoo, the elephants.
This is Bulwagi. This is our 40-year-old male African elephant.
Chris Pfefferkorn is CEO of the Birmingham Zoo.
You don't see cancer in elephants. There's a theory that there's something in the system of an elephant that helps prevent cancers.
For starters, elephants have 20 of a cancer-fighting gene called TP53. Humans have 2. The Aldabra tortoise is native to an island north of Madagascar.
The oldest one of these that we know about is still alive, and it seems to be about 189 years old.
His name is Jonathan.
He's functionally blind from cataracts, but it took 180 years for him to get those cataracts. We may be able to learn something about keeping our eyes young from actually looking at how they manage to preserve their eyes without getting cataracts. One of the things that makes tortoises so long-lived is that they do everything very slowly.
But how then to explain birds, such as macaws, which can live to 50 or so?
Birds have sped everything up.
Now consider these tiny freshwater creatures called hydra.
Hydra are one of the few animals that you can say unequivocally, they don't age. If you cut them in half, the top half will regrow the bottom half, and the bottom half will regrow a top half.
All these animals successfully repair or withstand the damage aging causes in humans.
Now I'm going to show you a movie of these miracle worms. They're called C. elegans.
In 1993, biologist Cynthia Kenyon discovered how to double their lifespans.
So what we're going to look at is the normal worm. Here he is as a young adult. He's about 3 days old.
They're minute, here magnified hundreds of times under the microscope.
And this is the long-lived mutant. We change one little gene only.
So he's basically the same age as the other worm.
He's exactly the same age. This is the normal worm just a couple weeks later. Look, it's old. And here is the long-lived mutant one at the exact same age. Look.
He's like a young worm.
That's why it's like a miracle, just by changing one gene only.
Kenyon is vice president of aging research at Calico Life Sciences, a Google subsidiary pouring billions of dollars into trying to slow aging in humans. How big a deal is this?
It's huge.
And only getting bigger as scientists look beyond traditional lab animals.
We're discovering new animals of interest to aging research all the time. And some of those are going to turn out to have the keys for preserving certain parts of our bodies as we get older. All we need to do is figure out how the animals do that. It's not magic, it's biology, and we know biology.
So is this your first meal of the day? It's now almost 6 o'clock?
It will be, yeah.
Really? You haven't, no breakfast, no lunch?
No.
Because?
Well, because it's clear, based on thousands of years of human existence, that eating less is, if it's not starvation or malnutrition, it's good for you.
Because why? What does it do?
So we didn't know why it was good for you. We thought that it was slowing down metabolism, but it's not the case. What's happening is it's turning on, when I'm not eating, or if you choose not to eat for a meal or two, you're turning on the body's defenses against aging.
In our labs, we always have caloric restricted animal. Okay,
Yeah.
you take brothers, two groups, one eat whatever they want, the other gets 60% of that. And they
Okay.
live 40% longer and healthier. And people, and we know it since the 1950s, but people assumed that means that you give less for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You just eat less throughout the day
Right.
as opposed to, but that's not what it is though, right?
No. If we actually are giving them all the food throughout the day, they're thinner, but they don't live longer. So you need the fasting to upregulate the mechanism for aging.
Well, the trick to longevity is a term called hormesis, which is a little bit of stress on your body, biological stress. So running, bit of hunger, cold, heat, puts your body in a state of perceived adversity. So you don't have to hurt yourself, but you put your body in a kind of a scared state. Oh my goodness, I could die if this continues. And then they turn on these defenses against aging. So we have these genes that get turned on. Some of them that we work on are called sirtuins. And so by being hungry, we've shown that you turn these on and then your body defends itself. If you sit around and you eat constantly, they don't work very hard.
Really?
And your clock ticks faster.
When your body undergoes a very mild stressor, we're not talking about a major stressor, it actually becomes a little more resilient. So it's kind of this, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So these kind of really acute mild stressors actually can boost the resilience of your biology. And we think that things like fasting or caloric restriction is actually acting through that. And also same thing with exercise. Exercise is actually a stressor on the body, but we think it's actually the body's response to this that is what gives it the benefit.
So you've been doing this now for a long time. What do you do personally?
I eat a plant-based diet, and I try to do what's called intermittent fasting. Again, the science is still out on whether this is having a big impact. I try to kind of restrict the time I eat during the day to about 6 hours, and then fast the rest of the day. I usually eat my first meal at like 1 in the afternoon, so around lunchtime, but maybe a little later lunch. And then I try and make sure I don't eat anything past 8 p.m. So I basically brush my teeth when my daughter's going to bed, and that's it.
And do you do it for your family as well?
I definitely don't do it for my daughter. I don't think, individuals who are still growing should be practicing either caloric restriction or any type of kind of dietary intervention. My husband is not in favor of that. He's a big New York bagel lover, so he's not willing to give that up.
Trying to fast like I do right out of the gate is really tough. You should ease into it or you'll fail.
Have you noticed a difference?
In my diet or in my health?
Just in the way you feel.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel sharper. I'm not feeling bloated anymore. I don't feel full at meals.
Yeah.
Try one meal a day. Drink coffee, drink tea, drink water, fill up your stomach. You'll get used to that. Give it at least 2 weeks for your body to get used to it and your liver to start making its own sugar. And then try lunch as well. And you might find that you've never felt better, looked better, been able to concentrate better during the day and even sleep better.
Like the rest of us, the clock is ticking for our Jim Gaffigan. So there's no time to waste.
Aging gracefully. Is that the goal? We're supposed to age gracefully? I don't think I've ever been described as graceful. Lumbering, maybe. Now I'm supposed to be graceful when essentially my knees have completely stopped working? Aging gracefully implies an acceptance. Really the antithesis of Dylan Thomas's "do not go gentle into that good night." Thomas encouraged us to fight off death and aging. Of course, Dylan Thomas died when he was only 39, so he never knew how inflexible knees are in your 50s. I do admire those that seem to both not go gentle into that good night and be graceful about it. We all know Tom Brady has somehow stopped aging altogether, which is equally impressive and annoying. Then again, I don't think Tom Brady eats bread, which to me sounds like a form of death. The political world is filled with people that are so high-functioning it's bewildering. Senator Chuck Grassley is 88 years old and is not only seeking re-election, but jogs 3 miles a day. Just thinking about that makes my knees hurt. I must admit, when I ponder Senator Grassley and these politicians, I don't contemplate gracefulness or cognitive abilities. I question my passion for life.
President Biden has a big birthday next weekend. He's turning 80. For some, that prompts the question, how old is too old? But why? Susan Spencer looks at the slights and wrongs of ageism.
I still am 80.
Teresa Harrison's approach to getting old never gets old.
You can tell I'm excited about my age.
You seem to be. Now,
Yes.
Why is that?
I've become more innovative. I've become more creative. I've become more curious.
At 64, her energy is impressive, as are her skills. The Baltimore-based technology company she founded handles cybersecurity for the Department of Defense. And when did she start it?
I was in my 50s when I founded George Street Services.
I mean, the stereotype is of the hotshot 19-year-old in the garage, right? With all these wacko ideas.
That is me. Just add another 30 years.
But in the tech world, those 30 years often draw unwelcome questions.
I've been asked my age. I've been asked, how long are you going to work? Aren't you getting tired? Are you going to stick around?
Do you feel like this has had an impact on, say, getting a contract?
I think it does, unfortunately.
Can you imagine someone in their 20s or 30s or even their 40s being asked those same questions? And yet, for some reason, it's socially acceptable to say those same types of things to a woman in her 60s.
Would you call that ageism?
Absolutely.
University of Oklahoma professor Julie Ober-Allen calls it everyday ageism.
Everyday ageism refers to those sort of minor comments, interactions, exposures that suggest that aging is undesirable. So it's things like, all the birthday cards making jokes about wrinkles and walkers. It's interactions where someone assumes that an older adult can't use their phone or other forms of technology. And it's also when older adults tend to believe some of these assumptions and prejudices about older adults themselves.
And everyday ageism is everywhere, says Allen, who conducted a large-scale nationwide survey to assess just how pervasive it really is.
Over 93% of U.S. older adults between the ages of 50 and 80 experience sort of these daily, everyday ageism interactions and experiences frequently.
That is an astonishing number. Did you 93%?
Absolutely, yes.
We live in a culture that bombards us from childhood on, starting with children's books, about how awful it's going to be to get old, how tragic to encounter any kind of incapacity. And unless we stop to question those messages, they become part of our identity.
Getting that word out is Ashton Applewhite's singular mission.
So I sold the rights in Korea. Look at this beautiful book.
Her book, This Chair Rocks, argues for fighting back.
My goal is to help catalyze a grassroots movement like the women's movement to raise awareness of ageism, what it is, what it looks like, what it smells like, and what we can do to dismantle it.
Let me just tick off a few things. Tell me if you think this is an example of ageism. Jokey birthday cards, so it takes twice as long to look half as good.
Anything that equates youth with better is inherently ageist.
Lines, wrinkles, and those little sunken places? Not anymore.
Anti-aging products, is that ageist just in itself?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a multi-million, gazillion-dollar industry really designed to, frankly, encourage all of us to think that the appearance of older adults isn't attractive.
How do you answer when somebody says, you look great for your age?
Well, the only snappy answer I've come up with in all this time, you say, you look great for your age too. And let that sit there, because a lot of age-based comments are often well-intended. That is intended as a compliment.
Yeah.
But I can't accept that compliment. It suggests that there's a certain way you look at a certain age, and there's no such thing.
So to be clear, we're not attacking Joe Biden for falling off his bike at a dead standstill. He's at the age where that can happen. He shouldn't be riding bikes.
Well, President Biden is even not immune from this. He has certainly been the brunt of many jokes, if you will, about aging.
Sure. So, when our president falls off his bike because of the age group that he represents, it's assumed to have something to do with that. When people across the country fall off their bikes all the time, but if they aren't in that older age group, the reasoning that is sort of provided for why it happened is typically very different.
So it's very well to say, well, we have to get rid of these attitudes. How do you do it?
I mean, I think the first step is increasing awareness, and it's sort of a prerequisite, but also to really start to make the case that ageism is bad for health and that it is harmful.
That's right. Ageism is bad for us, mentally and even physically.
Certainly, it may act as a source of chronic stress, leading to increased risk for actually a pretty broad spectrum of different chronic diseases. And we've also found that ageism is associated with premature mortality. People who experience more ageism are much more likely to die at a younger age.
Conversely, according to one study, people with an upbeat take on getting older actually live longer, an average of 7.5 years longer. There is some research showing that there are positive health benefits to even having positive attitudes. Do you buy that?
100%. I believe that a positive mindset yields unbelievable results.
Harrison says she and her booming business prove it. But contrary to our preconceptions about aging, it turns out she's not unique.
The average entrepreneur is not in their 20s. It is not in their 30s. They're actually in their 40s. 42 was the average number.
Professor J. Daniel Kim at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton Business School recently conducted a massive study of successful entrepreneurs, and they are not the kid in the garage. Statistically, if I'm 50 and I think about having a startup tech company, I'm more likely to succeed than if I'm 30.
Absolutely. Vera Wang, she was 40 years old when she founded her fashion company. Sam Walton of Walmart was 44. Bernie Marcus at Home Depot was 51 years old.
Meanwhile, Teresa Harrison just keeps on keeping on. She says because of her age, not in spite of it. You're inspirational.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And if I ever get older, I'll take all this to heart.
Please do. It keeps me young.
Obviously.
Yes, it does. It does.
Of all the issues in this year's presidential election, immigration, the economy, abortion, one seems to surpass all the others. Is Joe Biden, or Donald Trump for that matter, just too old to meet the demands of the job? We've asked Dr. John LaPook to help us answer the age-old question.
There's an old saying among doctors, if you've seen one 80-year-old, you've seen one 80-year-old. Some will act like they're 60 or 70, while others seem a lot older.
You hear a lot of people asking, how old is too old? And shouldn't it be how old is too old for what function?
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Is part of you just getting sick and tired of this discussion?
No, I'm never tired of discussing aging.
Dr. Louise Aronson is a geriatrician and professor of medicine at the University of California, San Francisco. Her best-selling book, Elderhood, is about redefining old age.
I honestly think anybody who's lived past their 40s knows age matters, right? Your body changes, your brain changes. What I would like to see is a conversation where we actually discuss the things that matter.
It gets tricky, right?
Oh,
Because you
absolutely.
have things like wisdom
Right.
brushing up against decreasing cognitive function.
Right. I mean, there is a lot of variability.
A healthy human brain has up to 100 billion nerve cells making trillions of connections with each other. Recent research suggests a normal part of aging involves forgetting less important memories to help make room for new ones. The problem comes when normal forgetting is coupled with an abnormal process causing dementia.
I would say by far the biggest fear my patients have is that they're losing it.
Right.
And very often it'll start with, I couldn't think of a name. I mean, it was somebody who I know so well.
Right.
How important is that? How worried should they be?
I would say they should not be worried.
And what about misplacing objects?
Sometimes it's a matter of attention. So what may be happening in situations where people said, I couldn't find my keys, is that they weren't paying enough attention to the keys. Maybe they were talking to someone when they put them down, and consequently that memory isn't within their grasp in the way they would hope.
But if you find the keys and you don't know what they do.
Oh, that's a bigger problem, yes.
That distinction between normal and abnormal aging is increasingly important as the number of older workers continues to grow. And in most cases, mandatory retirement at a certain age is illegal.
Congress today gave final approval to a bill that outlaws mandatory retirement for most workers at any age.
But there are exceptions when public safety is at stake. For example, FBI agents must retire at 57, commercial airline pilots at 65. But there are no age limits for surgeons.
When I lecture about this subject of older surgeons around the country, I ask my audience, who in the audience has encountered a surgeon who should have stopped operating before he or she did, and the majority of hands go up. Doctors think that they know best.
Dr. Mark Catlick is a thoracic surgeon and chief of surgery for LifeBridge Health in Baltimore.
Let's go.
In 2014, he created the Aging Surgeon Program, a 2-day physical and cognitive evaluation open to older surgeons from anywhere in the world, demonstrated here.
Okay, Kurt, you can stop.
I was pulled together a team, a multidisciplinary team of doctors, including geriatricians and neurologists and PT, OT, physical occupational therapy people, ethicists, lawyers. We built this comprehensive, objective evaluation of a surgeon's physical and cognitive faculties.
What was the initial response of the surgeons who were going to be potentially subjected to this?
Almost everyone comes kicking and screaming and not wanting to come.
And what precipitates them being sent there in the first place?
Something has been identified as being problematic.
I want you to touch the block that I touch.
Okay.
Aside from evaluating surgeons flagged with a possible problem, LifeBridge is one of the few hospital systems in the country where all doctors and nurses over the age of 75 receive a neurocognitive assessment every 2 years.
Our doctors are very open-minded about it.
Dr. Catlick, 72, says tests like these actually help fight ageism by focusing on function rather than on chronological age.
I think you can make a very strong case for anybody who's in a high-impact profession. Doctors, airline pilots, high government officials, they should have some sort of screening at some age. In fact, I would take away the mandatory retirement for airline pilots and others. If you're okay, the test will show you're okay.
We've added a couple of decades, essentially an entire generation onto our lives, and we haven't kind of socioculturally figured out how to handle that.
And I think it's important. We need to discuss age.
Figuring out how to handle that, says Dr. Aronson, might just mean embracing the realities of getting older while realizing the end of working doesn't have to mean the end of a meaningful life.
We need ways of letting people work when they still can and of helping them to stop working when that's in their interests and the interests of the common good.
But the problem is that we really haven't figured out a way of giving people a gentle off-ramp to whatever it is that they're doing that preserves their dignity, their sense of who they are.
Almost all of us will live to that phase of life, and so if nothing but the most selfish of reasons, we should be doing that right now.
Academy Award winner Jane Fonda, who happens to be Ted Turner's former wife and good friend, turns 87 later this month. This morning, she shares secrets for aging gracefully.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda. You might know me from being Jane Fonda for the last 86 years. So I know a lot about aging well, and I'm here to tell you something very important. You are being robbed of 7.5 years of your life. I'll explain. But first, let me introduce you to my friend.
Can I say sorry, I have a foul mouth.
That's Ashton Applewhite, and yeah, that is her real name.
Yeah, it sounds made up.
In the next few minutes, Ashton and I are going to add 7.5 years to your life.
That's a lot of time. People with more positive age beliefs lived an average of 7.5 years longer than people who equated aging with disease and decline.
In other words, one way to live longer is just to have a good attitude. But society is doing literally everything it can to make sure we don't have a good attitude. From the beauty industry,
Simply Ageless,
to what we see every day in the news.
questions are being raised now. How old is too old to remain in office?
Lots of people assume we'll end up in the nursing homes, when in fact, less than 3% of us do. Of course, that doesn't stop us from talking about our senior moments.
Oh, senior moment. Young people forget things too all the time. When I lost the car keys in high school, I didn't call it a junior moment. We are so brainwashed to equate old age with disease and decline and badness.
All that stuff will lead you to believe that getting older is terrible. That's not just a little insulting, it's wrong. Come on, show me the science, Ashton.
People are happiest at the beginnings and the ends of their lives. It's called the U-curve of happiness, and it's been borne out by dozens of studies around the world.
No wonder it looks like a smiley face. So what do we need to make that happiness curve rise? Do we need perfect health?
Nope.
Money?
Nope.
Microdosing?
I cannot answer that with a straight face.
I give up.
It's having a solid community, the most important component of a good old age.
I know what you're about to say. How do I build community if I don't already have one? There's a million ways to do it, but I'm going to talk about one that you can start right away from almost anywhere.
Wait, me what?
Hey, take it from me. It is true. Could you go back? Art classes are a great way to build community.
We know that being in community is good for us. We know that having purpose is good for us. But the health benefits of being in art class in specific, it turns out, are fascinating.
A National Endowment for the Arts study found art classes for older adults increased mental engagement, increased physical activity. They found new or stronger relationships.
They visit the doctor less often. They are less likely to fall. All this art behind me was made by older people in art classes. And I define art broadly.
Singing,
theater,
dance,
flower arranging,
graffiti.
Maybe I'd take a DJ class.
Wow, I can feel the 7.5 years coming back. We should reframe having a senior moment. A woman named Barbara Hillary was the first Black woman to reach the North Pole, and she was 75 years old. Senior moment. So much of your life gets better as you age. We get less stressed, we become kinder to ourselves and braver, we're less judgmental, and best of all, we stop caring so much about what other people think of us, which, believe me, saves a lot of time.
Aging is the one universal human experience. It is a process of growth and self-knowledge that is a joy.
Who knows what my next 7.5 years will bring? I'm ready for my senior moment.
Hey! It doesn't scare him away, it brings him to the top, where it can spear him. Oh, I'll spear you.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Jane Pauley.
Brooke Shields was just 14 years old when she starred in the film The Blue Lagoon. She's been in front of a camera nearly all her life, and with a milestone birthday on the horizon, she tells Faith Saley why she's inspired to write her own script.
You know, my kids will be like, oh,
It's Golden Globe night. Get the bottle of wine for Mom. You know, get the tequila.
This is the first time I've ever won anything as an actor.
Last Sunday, Demi Moore accepted her first major acting award at the Golden Globes. Watching from home was Brooke Shields.
It's so interesting, these award shows, right? They can be torturous if you sit there and you go like, why am I not valid enough to get that, do that, whatever?
You felt
and
that.
I felt it my entire life.
And all the other men like me. Don't you like me?
It can be surprising to hear that a veteran actress like Shields yearns for acceptance. Turns out she's totally human.
I was listening to Demi. We weren't the ones that ever got awards. Like, no. I got People's Choice Awards. Like, the people loved me, you know, and
so you get the People's Choice Award, but you wanted the Emmy, the Oscar?
You just wanted, like, to be part of the group, the cool kids. That's where the little insecure girl comes out.
At this point in her career of 6 decades, the comedian has earned the right to laugh at herself.
Whoa! Whoa!
Hey!
Oh!
How old are you?
I am 59.
And how old do you feel?
I feel 38. I definitely feel a youthfulness that I didn't feel in my younger years.
She started modeling while wearing diapers. Later, she turned heads wearing Calvin Klein jeans.
You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing.
Shields was expected to sell products and say her lines, all while looking gorgeous. She delivered.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, David.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only.
But as she approaches 60, she's found a cultural script she's powerfully rejecting.
What kind of story do you think our society tells women about aging?
By the time you get to 50, they've just completely, written you off.
You're done.
You are out to pasture. Society says, oh, if you're not the hot 20-something at the bar, you're an old lady. There's this whole demo in the middle that gets just they just overlook.
It's those overlooked women for whom Shields has written her 4th book.
Brooke Shields is not allowed to get old. Who says that?
When you are someone that has been noted for looking a certain way, by virtue of just growing older, you become a disappointment in a way. I've watched people get sort of personally affronted that I dare to be 60.
And what do you say to them?
I just sort of feel bad for them. I'm a part of the problem because I was that symbol, maybe unwittingly, but I didn't set out to do that.
Nearly 44 years after being named the face of a decade, Shields hopes to be a voice for her generation, empowering women by sharing her personal and, at times, vulnerable experiences.
You say you know this will make headlines, and you reveal this story in which a doctor performed a surgery on you that you did not consent to.
No.
What happened?
I was asked by my gynecologist if I experienced discomfort, and I said yes.
In the late 2000s, Shields went to a surgeon to help reduce some labia discomfort. But after the operation, she says she found out he performed an extra procedure, an unwanted vaginal rejuvenation.
He literally looked at me and said, I tightened you up a bit. And I was like, what? He just sort of was like boasting that he threw in a little bonus for me. And I was in such shock that I became numb. I didn't even know what to do.
What did you say?
I didn't say a thing. Because it sounded like he wanted me to thank him.
So you didn't say anything then?
I didn't say anything then, and this is the first time I've said anything.
That so-called bonus surgery has had lasting side effects. The actress and model says sex can be painful.
I feel outrage, and I'm not you.
And this was, a long time ago. We didn't know what we could fight or complain. And to be honest, I finally had a life and kids. And it was like, dear God, I don't want that kind of attention.
And why are you saying something now?
Because I have daughters and there's no shame around it. And The more we have those conversations with them, conversations I never had, the more progress I think we will have as women.
Can we expect you back?
I would love it.
Shields is looking to make progress in other ways, too. In May, she was elected president of Actors Equity Association, the union representing 51,000 actors and stage managers around the country.
Everyone on with the party. Exit laughing.
As a 5-time Broadway star, she felt a responsibility to give back to a community that's embraced her. She's already taken her fight to Washington for more funding and to change tax policy.
How's it been going so far?
It's been a learning curve. Trial by fire. I have never gone on the Hill and met with congressmen and senators, and producers need to take care of the people that bleed for them on a daily basis.
Besides a union boss, Shields is now a CEO.
First up is Commence 2-in-1 Instant Shampoo.
She's founded the beauty brand Commence after hearing concerns from aging women about their hair.
They have felt overlooked, and that's just the truth. They're not being marketed to.
What has been the hardest part of being a CEO?
Money raising, keeping the money flowing, because you have to put it right back into the company. And nobody's getting salaries yet, so at least I'm not.
Brooke, can you stop?
Don't ask Brooke Shields if she's ready to slow down. Age has wrought wisdom, and she's just getting started.
Going to be 60 years old. I'm still here. I feel like I'm at the beginning of a new, really exciting stage. The more confident you get, isn't it interesting, the more opportunity you get. And yet you couldn't have arrived at said confidence without going through all the time to get here.
It's become a rite of passage for many of us maturing into middle age and beyond, joining AARP. Our Robert Costa pages through its storied history.
In this room. Drew Barrymore is beloved for her youthful energy. She also just turned 50, and we recently dropped by her talk show set because she landed on the cover of AARP, the magazine.
Everyone keeps telling me that this magical age of 50 is when you really start to let go of things. And I would love that to be true.
AARP. Today, we empower people to choose how they live as they age.
Aging is a tricky business, but it is the business of AARP. The nonprofit magazine's readership is staggering, nearly 40 million people. The average issue's audience, the largest for any print publication in America.
In the magazine, what we're trying to say is, we get you. We're going to talk about things that matter to you because you matter.
At 86, Myrna Blythe is editorial director.
And we know health works, money works, lifestyle works.
Advertisers and celebrities recognize the power of older Americans.
How did you get Bob Dylan to be on the cover?
He called us and asked us.
He called you?
Yes.
Dylan doesn't call anybody.
He called the editor.
We're all growing old at the same rate. And it's rather comforting to know that time just can't be managed.
In 1958, educator Ethel Percy Andrus founded AARP after growing alarmed about the struggles facing older people.
Is there still a sense of alarm about the state of affairs for older Americans?
Definitely. As a nonprofit organization,
Dr. Maisha Minter-Jordan is now the CEO.
We represent 110 million Americans who are in the 50-plus demographic. People are living longer, they're staying in the workforce longer, and so the needs are changing, but the needs are still urgent.
In 1999, they stopped being the American Association of Retired Persons and became just AARP. While it is nonpartisan, it's not immune from controversy. Over the years, it has been criticized from left and right for its lobbying efforts.
What are your members worried about?
Our members are most worried about Medicare, Social Security, and family caregiving.
They don't think those things will be there for them?
They're very concerned. This is something that people are earning their entire life. They're paying into for Social Security, and they're very concerned about their access to that. And additionally, family caregiving. We're hearing more and more from people who are in the sandwich generation, taking care of younger children, taking care of their aging parents, and the financial hardships that that can bring.
As for the future, it's about welcoming new generations.
We're growing up, and now we get to be on AARP.
And Drew Barrymore is excited about everything to come.
When you look down the horizon at your own life, how do you think about age and even possibly retirement?
I had never thought about the concept of retirement because I started working at 11 months old and I'm still working. I've never known what life is like without that. So it seems like an exciting prospect, but things are so good right now that I don't want to be unappreciating of everything that's happening in my life right now. So it's not soon, but it's something that like I get excited about dancing with in some ballroom one night. Like this new stranger will walk in and sweep me off my feet and his name will be retirement.